Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for another Transformers movie review today, and today guys, I'm going to be reviewing the second installment of the live-action remake of Transformers directed by Michael Bay, which is Transformers Revenge of Fallen, released in 2009, and guys, I'm not alone today because joining me again to review this movie is my very good friend X-Blaze, so yeah, now, I'm going to let him share his thoughts on the movie first, so yeah, anyway, take it away X-Blaze.
Hello there, my name's Blaze, and thank you Luke for including me into this review. It's a really good honor to be here. But anyway, so here are my pros. So, first pro, incredible CGI. Yes, again, like I said it in the first movie. Incredible CGI. The part when you see Ironhide transform, that was like the coolest part in my opinion. Bumblebee also, he felt like he was like a toy, if you know what I mean. And yeah, it was a really cool experience. My second pro, awesome action, better than the first movie. I actually really enjoyed this movie the most when it came to action. The first one was decent, and yeah, but I really like this one in terms of like action and such. When you see Bumblebee fighting Rampage, that was the coolest in my opinion. Also, the first fight, let's not forget about that. Again, my another pro is Agent Simmons. I think he's the only likable human in this movie. I think he was the best in this movie, actually. He was way better than Michaela and Sam. And yeah. What can I say? He's really good in this movie. Way better than the first movie, though. Yeah. Another one, Megatron. Oh yeah. Let's not forget, Hugo Weaving, the guy who voiced him. After the third movie, he doesn't want to voice him again, which is surprisingly weird, but yeah, he did really good in this movie. He sounded way better here, though. That's the thing. Another, The Fallen, Tony Todd. Wow, he did an incredible job in this movie. From what I heard, guys, James Arnold Taylor, he was supposed to be The Fallen. But hey, we got Tony Todd instead, but James is in the game, surprisingly. Okay, let's go on to my cons. I have way too many of them. First of all, Sideways. He was wasted in this movie. All he did is literally run, jump through the window, transform again, and then the boy sideswipe just throws a blade and kills him. Like, he was so wasted in this movie, literally. Yeah. Another con. Too many humans. Agent Simmons was the only good one. Everyone else was annoying as hell. Judy was annoying. Ron, and he was okay. Sam, they were all annoying. Let's not talk about Leo, he was the worst. Skids and Mudflap. Oh my goodness. Dinner now, as me, Skids, I'm gonna go down and beat up Mudflap. Yeah, I can do Skids really well, though. Yeah, Skids and Mudflap. Oh my goodness. Who thought of them being in the movie? They were, one, really annoying. Two, they were racist as hell. I mean, why did you bring in Breakaway? We could have had Breakaway instead. And yeah, then we could have seen Breakaway and Bumblebee literally finding the Matrix. And I can imagine him being way better in this movie. But yeah. Oh no. Jolt and the RC sisters. They were wasted. They were wasted in here. Jolt, he had only one purpose, and that was to save Optimus. But everywhere else, he was useless as hell, literally. The RC sisters, I think they only went after Sideways, failed, then got shut down the Megatron, and yeah. Oh, Shia LaBeouf. Oh no. Not him. He was so bad in this movie. Let me tell you that. He was annoying as hell. 2. He was awkward. And yeah, that's it. That's what I can say. Megan Fox. Jeez. What have they done to her? Man. She was so much better in the first movie as the killer jock girl. But yeah. Leo. Oh no. He was the worst. Literally, he was the worst. And I actually really liked Skates and Luthfab roasting him. Like at the fat shank and die. But yeah. That's all we can think of. Alice the Pretender. Who thought of this? For one, who thought of adding a pretender? If I added a pretender, I would have added someone really weird. Like Sam's teacher. I would have added Sam's teacher instead of a girl. That would have been way scarier, I'll tell you that. And also, the funny part is, when she enters into the car, Bumblebee literally plays the Jaws theme, and then just plays some random songs which I can't play due to copyright. And yeah, Grindor. Oh no. What have they done to my boy? They wasted me! Yeah, they actually wasted Grindor. Jeez, you know what? I'm gonna do Grindor right now.
The damn fool, Bay, wasted me. He made me incredibly weak compared to my original form in the first movie. Ow for that blasty day!
Yeah. Okay, that was the Grindor as neat, but of course there's like some effects added, which will thankfully make me sound better as Grindor. But anyway, here's my review. Thank you, Lucanus, for inviting me, and see ya!
Alright, so now it's up to me to review this movie. So this movie, guys, now, I'm going to be honest and say that, you know, this movie is probably like a major example of a sequel which, you know, is much weaker than the previous movie in the series, and yeah, but it does have a few, like, underrated moments, in my opinion, which make it, you know, not the worst Transformers movie ever, because in my opinion, the worst one is The Last Night. This one will probably be my second worst live-action Transformers remake, you know, before The Last Night, so yeah. Now, so what's this movie about? So taking place 2 years after the first film, the story revolves around Sam Witwicky, who is caught once again in the war between the Autobots led by Optimus Prime and the Decepticons led by Megatron. Sam begins having strange visions of Cybertronian symbols and is being hunted by Decepticons under the orders of an ancient Decepticon named the Fallen, who seeks to get revenge on Earth by finding and activating a machine that will provide the Decepticons with an energon source, destroying the sun and all life on Earth in the process. So that's what the movie was about. So now, this movie had negative critical reception and it was panned on release. And I would definitely agree with many critics that it is inferior to the first movie. But it does have good qualities in my opinion, which we're going to get to first. So, the best quality of the movie in my opinion is once again the voice acting by the cast. For example, Peter Cullen once again returned Optimus Prime, and you know, like I said before in my previous review, no one will ever play Optimus Prime, in my opinion, better than Peter Cullen, my favourite voice actor of all time. You know, he was absolutely phenomenal as Optimus Prime in this movie, even though Prime sadly doesn't have really much screen time in the movie, which we're going to get to, because that's one of the bad qualities of the movie. And also, when it comes to the other Autobots, I also once again love Jess Harlow as Ironhide, Robert Fox was Ratchet, even though Ratchet was unfortunately downplayed this movie, which we're going to get to in the bad qualities. And I also like the inclusion of Sideswipe, who in my opinion is a very underrated Autobot, guys, and voiced by Andrei Soglioso, who is probably my favourite voice of Sideswipe. I really love his voice for a character. And I love his catchphrase, "Damn, I'm good." I love that line. And I also like the introduction of Grey Griffin as RC. But unfortunately, guys, I really hate how RC and the other twins, Chromie and Elita 1, were incredibly wasted in this movie. You know, hardly any screen time, and unfortunately they appear to get killed as well. Although we never even confirmed the fate of Chromie, because we never saw her again after the last shot of the twins as they're getting ambushed and killed, so yeah. I did not like that, to be honest, guys, so yeah. Now, when it comes to Decepticons, now, guys, my favourite part of the movie, guys, would have to be Megatron. Because Megatron, I really love his new design. And I really, as well, loved Hugo Weaving's voice as him the most in this movie. You know, he sounded way more scary and menacing than he did in the first movie, in my opinion. I'm not saying the first movie voice was bad, but I think his voice was just so nailed in this movie. You know, Megatron was one of the best parts, and I love his alternate form where he turned into like a flying tank. I love that. That was so cool, and he was also pretty strong in this movie, which was proven, you know, by his fight scenes, and yeah. And I also, as well, liked Charlie Adler's Starscream. I like how, compared to the first movie, Starscream had a much bigger role, and of course, way more dialogue, obviously, because he hardly spoke in the first film. So, yeah. I'm very glad that, you know, he got more dialogue in this movie and way more scenes and screen time and a much bigger role. So I did like that. And I also, as well, liked the introduction of Tom Kenny as Wheelie, who's a former Decepticon spy, and I actually like Tom Kenny as Wheelie more than Frank Welker from G1, because like I said in my Transformers movie rant review, you know, my trash talk about movie, you know, I thought Will was pretty silly in that movie and the show. But I think Tom Kenny was hilarious as him, and I could take him more seriously because he was so funny, great comic relief, really funny. And when it comes to Decepticons as well, I also love how Frank Welker reprised his role as Soundwave from G1, although his voice sounded very different because they got rid of the vocoder effect, so he sounded way more like his Dr. Claw voice from Inspector Gadget in this movie, and Darker Moon, but yeah. It was great to see Soundwave come back, and I liked his alternate form where he was a satellite because it fits him being a communication officer. I did like that. And I also, as well, definitely as well, love the introduction of the Fallen, voiced by Tony Todd, who is a great actor, guys, you know, in like horror movies and also in other voice work too. And yeah, he was absolutely amazing as a Fallen, in my opinion. You know, I really loved his deep voice, and you know, I did prefer more of James Arnold Taylor's voice from Revenge of the Fallen game, because, you know, at least he didn't need effects to sound menacing like how James Arnold Taylor did. So yeah, and he sounded pretty scary. Although Fallen didn't have much screen time, sadly, which I did not like. So yeah, and also the way he was defeated as well also really annoyed me. So yeah, and now another good quality I will say is once again the visuals, guys, because I think the visuals and the CGI definitely do hold up really well in these, you know, movies, to be honest. Despite the movie being 11, I think it's 12 years old now because it was 2009. So yeah, I feel like you know, they definitely do hold up brilliantly in my opinion, and very well visualized, like the transforming scenes, for example, and the action. You know, it's still really good. Like the scenes of the Transformers in this movie are probably the most tolerable scenes that I can take in this movie. Another good quality I will say, guys, is the music by Steve Jablonsky, because I really do love his music in all these movies. It's probably like the one good quality I will say, you know, that is never really a problem. The same could be applied to Peter Cullen, you know, because I really loved, you know, his music. And while speaking about, you know, many tracks from the first movie, he brought out loads of, you know, new ones. So yeah. So, like, the good qualities is the voice cast for most of the characters. Some characters, like Starscream, having much screen time, and also introducing new characters like Sideswipe. I love Sideswipe, and also the Fallen. Visuals and CGI and music. But, yeah. On to the bad qualities, it's so many of them. Now, compared to the first movie, there were so many unlikable human characters in this movie. For example, the only ones I liked was, once again, you know, Lennox and Epps, and also they were probably the only human characters I liked, and also Glenn Morshower as General Morshower. But the bad quality, it is, you know, Sam Witwicky, compared to the first movie, he was so incredibly annoying. I hated him in this movie. He did my head in. He really got on my nerves. Like, compared to the first movie, he was so cringy in this movie. You know, terrible acting. Like, what on earth happened to Sam in this movie, guys? And also, Megan Fox as Michaela. Oh, God. She was also disappointing because she was also very annoying in this movie. I did not like her performance at all as her. But thankfully this was her last film as Michaela, because I believe she got fired and got replaced by Rosie Huntington-Whiteley as a new love interest for Sam in Darker Moon. So yeah. Another good human that I did also like was Simmons. I think he was better in this movie than the first one, because I like how he was an ally to, you know, to Sam. He was like an ally. I did like him in that part. He was pretty good. However, when it comes to new characters, I did not like Leo, played by Ramon Rodriguez. He really annoyed me. I did not like Leo at all. I just didn't like him. And I also really could not stand Sam's parents once again. Like, especially his mother in the university scenes, you know, because Sam's going to university in this movie. Like, she was so cringy. Like, whenever I rewatch this movie, guys, because to prepare for this review, I actually rewatch a movie. When I rewatched this movie, I skipped, you know, the human scenes because they were so cringy. I hated them. Like, I just can't stand them. I'm only here to watch the Transformers, to be honest. And, you know, I hate how many of them barely get any screen time compared to the humans. Although some do play bigger roles in the first movie, like Starscream, for example. And also, whose idea was it to include a Decepticon that disguised itself as a girl at Sam's university called Alice? Like, are the Decepticons really that stupid? Like, the way I'd have done it, guys, is I wouldn't have had a Decepticon pretend to be you know, a college student. I'd have made the Decepticon pretend to be Sam's lecturer. Because imagine if the lecturer, during a lecture where Sam was going mad due to, you know, the symbols in his mind, imagine if the Decepticon turned into, the teacher turned into a Decepticon. That would have been way more scarier, in my opinion. I'd have loved that. So, yeah. Like, I just could not stand what they did with this movie, and, you know, like, I did not like Alice at all, the pretender. She really got on my nerves. And, yeah. Another bad quality I will say, guys, is plot holes. There's loads of them because, well, there's one regarding Optimus Prime because, oh yeah, this leads on to another bad quality that I really hate about this movie, just like the 1986 movie, is I really hate how halfway through a movie Optimus gets killed. I hated that. But thankfully, compared to the 1986 movie, he gets brought back later in the movie, thankfully. But killing him off was a bad move, and as a result, he barely gets much screen time despite being leader of the Autobots. I hated that. I was furious that he killed off Optimus. So angry about that. But I will, however, say that his fighting with Megatron, Starscream and Grindor was brilliant. Very well made with visuals and CGI. And I love how he didn't hold back and he kept fighting. And despite being wounded, he retracted his second blade and said he would take them all on. That is just badass. You know. Good old Optimus Prime, eh? And when it comes to other plot, this leads on to a plot hole because, you know, Sam wants to use the Matrix of Leadership to bring back Optimus. But the thing is, guys, right, he's got a shard of the Allspark from the Battle of Mission City, which he knows can bring back Transformers from the dead because he's seen it happen. So why didn't he use the shard to bring Optimus back? Is he really that stupid? Ridiculous. And also, if the Allspark has made him have all these symbols in mind, he held the Allspark in his hands in the first movie. Why didn't he get symbols in that movie, you know? The plot holes really annoyed me, and I also, as well, really hated, as well, how, despite getting his voice repaired in the first movie's end, Bumblebee has somehow lost his voice again. Like, seriously? Why did we do that? I don't like how, you know, he lost his voice, like, that's ridiculous. You know, compared to the G1 show where he does talk with no vocal problems, like, ridiculous. Like, I really did not like that. And also, another example of, like, you know, bad qualities is also, like, screen time for Transformers, because I've already mentioned about like, Optimus didn't have much screen time due to, you know, being killed, and I definitely did not like how the Fallen, despite being the main antagonist, pretty much, and the title character, was also barely in the movie that much, despite a great performance by Tony Todd. You know, he was hardly in the movie that much. And his final fight with Optimus was pretty much a big joke, because Optimus was able to easily kill him. Like, what an absolute waste. Like, in my opinion, guys, the Transformers video game Revenge of Fallen, which is based on the movie, was much better than this in terms of story, because, you know, at least the Transformers had a much bigger focus from the humans, and also Bumblebee spoke. So, yeah, and also, not only that, but Grindor, who is a Decepticon who fought Optimus in the forest battle, he has a much bigger role, and he also has way more dialogue, because he only has, like, one line in the fight scene with Optimus, and that's it in the movie, but in the game, he talks way more voice with Fred Tatasciore. So, yeah. And also, Ratchet as well, despite great performance I wrote at Foxworth, he's also hard in the movie as well, which I did not like. Like, the Autobot Medic is hard in the movie. Stupid. And also, as well, when it comes to Fallen, I think his boss fight at the end of Revenge of Fallen game was way better than the fight scene in this movie, to be honest, guys. Like, I did not like how he was so downplayed in this movie, which was disappointing because he's supposed to be the main villain. I also mentioned earlier that I hate how the RC twins all got wasted. And they never confirmed the fate of Chromia either, guys, which is why, in my Transformers audio series, I'm going to bring her back and play a much bigger role, you know, compared to, you know, this movie, so yeah. Because if you've watched my Transformers Odyssey's Battle of Orbit City, she is in that series, so yeah. And she might be returning in another series too in the future. I'll have to wait and see. Now, when it comes to the cast as well, right, even though I do enjoy most of the characters, there is, like, 2 characters in the movie which I absolutely can't stand, which is Skids and Mudflap. Oh, God. Why did we have to include these characters? Because they were so incredibly cringy. I hated them. They were so annoying, and none of that, but they also were racist as well in the movie as well, which I thought was horrible. Like, that leads on to another bad quality being, I hate how this movie had so many inappropriate jokes and, like I said, racism. Like, because Transformers is based on a children's toy line by Hasbro, and you had to include inappropriate jokes. You having a laugh? Like, why would you do that? Like, I'm not going to say what the jokes were because they're inappropriate, this is a family-friendly channel, but yeah, the jokes were disgusting in this movie. So annoying, and yeah. And another bad quality I will say, guys, is I don't like, as well, how the Autobot called Jolt, who is a technician who can use electrical chains, did not talk. I hated that. But thankfully he does play a big role by, helping Autobots get Jetfire's armor on him. But yeah, now on to Jetfire now. Okay. Despite a great performance by Mark Reiner's Jetfire, I really did not like how he characterized Jetfire in this movie because compared to G1 where he's, a pretty cool character, I hate how they made him such a weak old man in this movie, I did not like that at all. Like, that's not who Jetfire is. I didn't like it at all. But at least he had a purpose of, sacrificing himself to help Optimus defeat the Fallen, so at least that was one good quality I will say, that redeemed him a little bit. So, yeah. But yeah, this movie was just, so inferior to the first movie, in my opinion, But thankfully, it is more watchable compared to, The Last Night, which is my, least favorite Transformers movie. So, yeah. But yeah, and I don't like how they include Skids and Mudflap because, but thankfully in the game-based on movie, they're not in it as playable characters. They get replaced by Breakaway, who's in my opinion a very underrated Autobot, who I think should have been in this movie instead of them, to be honest. Like, I didn't really like the inclusion of them. So, yeah. But yeah. So, like I said about the good qualities is the Transformers themselves, like Optimus and Megatron. And, the fight scenes as well, with visuals and CGI. And I will admit, because I hate Sam in this movie, it was pretty satisfying to see Megatron mortally wounded by shooting him and made him go flying. Like, that was pretty satisfying. And, I had no idea until I rewatched the movie, guys, that Megatron actually yelled, "Die!" when he fired his cannon at Sam. Like, wow. That was pretty satisfying because I hate Sam, so yeah. But yeah. When it comes to bringing up Megatron, guys, I don't really mind bringing up Megatron because, because Megatron is my favourite, Transformers villain of all time, and, I feel like it wouldn't really be a Transformers movie without Megatron, to be honest, guys, so, yeah, because he's a leader of Decepticons, so, yeah. And thankfully, his, return had a meaning because he is the apprentice of the Fall, and his master needed his apprentice back, so, yeah. So that is understandable, I guess, and, it was also confusing how a Fallen didn't go by his name Megatronus Prime either, guys, because he's a Prime. He's pretty confusing. So, yeah. So, overall, guys, I do prefer the game in terms of story, and I like how the game also expanded on the Shanghai mission as well, compared to the movie, because Shanghai's only moved for about 5 minutes, guys. And then it cuts to, a cringy scene of Sam moving to university, Like, oh, God, I just can't stand the human scenes. Like I said, I like to skip the human scenes in this movie, because I can't stand them. They're so annoying, but when it comes to the Decepticon pretender called Alice, it was pretty satisfying how Bumblebee, was trying to warn Sam about how to, by playing the Jaws theme and also other songs with lyrics like, she's a super freak and, spraying her with, like car liquid. That was just, pretty funny and satisfying as well because she was so annoying, so yeah. So, like I said, guys, the good quality is the voice cast, visuals, CGI, music, and fight scenes, and, like, I also like the interaction between Megatron and the Fallen as well, guys. Great acting as well, in my opinion. So, yeah. And I like how Starscream got a big role in this movie compared to the first movie. And I like how his ultimate mode got tattoos on it, which was pretty cool. Because in the first movie, he was just a normal jet plane with no markings on it. So, yeah. So, guys, if you're wondering why I give this movie out of 10, then just like in my ranking video I did last year, I give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. So, yeah. because I just think it's so inferior to the first movie, guys. You know, a lot really. The first movie, you know, it's not my favourite. My favourite is Bumblebee, but yeah, you know, I'd rather watch this movie, to be honest. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, guys, so this is me and X Blaze. We're reviewing Transformers Revenge of Fallen. So yeah, thanks for all taking part as well, Blaze. It was really fun getting you to take part in this to review a movie with me. So you know, drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure in the comments what you guys think of Revenge of Fallen. If you've seen it, tell us what your thoughts on it. I'd love to hear your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for videos going in the future. And also, be sure to subscribe to X Blaze as well. I'll link his channel below in the description. If you want to be a member, you can press join if you're using a piece of lads, or you can click the description. And till all are one.